Hey guys, this is Andrew with rockclass101.com, and in this week's ukulele lesson, I'm going to be teaching you an original tune that I wrote, which was inspired by the movie Big Trouble in Little China. Now, if you haven't seen this movie, I don't want to give too much away, but essentially the tune that I wrote follows the journey that the main character, Kurt Russell, goes on. So the first theme is this journey that he's on to get into the building where all the bad guys live. And theme 2 is what happens when he actually gets into the building. They have this epic showdown. So you can really hear that in the music, right? The song starts off kind of really soft and subtle, and then theme 2, we have a lot more angst, we have a lot more tension, a lot more build up of So if you've seen the movie, I think it makes sense. If you haven't seen the movie, definitely go check it out. It's one of those movies that you watch when you're just super tired and you want to turn on something where you don't have to think much, you just want to watch a fun action adventure. Now, how does this all relate to what I titled this video, Japanese mythology? Well, one of the bad guys in this movie is this dude who looks a lot like this guy. If you've played Mortal Kombat, you instantly recognize this guy. His name is Raiden, and I did a little bit of digging into Raiden's background or sort of inspiration for the character, and he was inspired by Japanese mythology. So I wanted to put a little bit of Japanese cultural music into this composition, and what I did is I used a Japanese pentatonic scale known as the In scale. It sounds like this. So very traditional sounding, really cool, and it's something that I think gave a little bit more authenticity to this composition. So let's take a step back now and let's talk a little bit about this lesson. So in this video, I'm going to be teaching you how to play the first half of the tune. And then in the part 2 lesson, I'm going to be teaching you how to play the second half of the tune. So if you want to watch the part 2 lesson, you can do so by clicking this link right here or going to the site rockclass101.com and doing a search for, get this, Little Trouble in Big China. See what I did there? Big, little, big. Now also on that page is going to be the tabs that you can print off to follow along with, plus the really cool interactive on-screen tab viewer. Now this is a great feature where you can hit play, you can watch the tabs scroll across in real time, you can highlight bars to loop sections, slow it down to any speed you wish, just a great asset in learning this tune that much easier. And last but not least, there will be backing tracks on that page. So we're going to have a 100% speed and a 75% speed backing track that you can download. So once you learn the ukulele part, you can rock out with the band at home. Now, I want to cover a couple of things really quick before we jump into this lesson. And the first one is that this tune is for low G. So make sure you grab the low G ukulele. The second thing I want to touch on is our right hand approach for finger picking. Now, you can use either or. You can use a 4-finger approach, which means thumb gets string 4, index gets string 3, middle gets string 2, ring gets string 1, or you can use a 3-finger approach, which means that thumb gets double duty, 4 and 3, index gets string 2, middle finger gets string number 1. Now, there are some times in this tune where we're going to be using piccato picking, which is fancy terminology that just means alternate picking. So you can see I vamp on the A string, and what I do to do piccato picking is I lead with the middle, follow with the index. So it's a very efficient way to play melody notes that fall on one string in rapid succession. So it's easier for my right hand to do this than to go one finger. I have to work twice as hard. Now, if you're new to picado picking, I'll put a link to our lesson called La Gitanita. It's a flamenco tune that teaches you how to do it. Really cool song. But there's also going to be a secondary technique that we will use as well, but we'll talk about that when we get to it in the lesson. But that's everything, so let's go ahead and jump into learning this tune. So I've gone ahead and put up the first line of tab, and the big thing that we need to notice off the bat is that we are playing in 5/4. So all that means is that we're counting 5 quarter notes per measure. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, next measure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, next measure, and so forth. So it's a bit unorthodox, but that unorthodox time signature gives us this really unique sound. So let me go ahead and play this first measure, and then we'll break it down and learn it. So here's what it sounds like. So off the bat, rhythmically, it's fairly simple. We have eighth notes followed by a half note. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5. So very, very simple rhythmically. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make the basic G chord, but we're going to remove the first string. So we don't need that middle finger held down. That gives us this G5. Now we're just going to pluck straight down this G5. So string 4, string 3, string 2. After this, we're going to use that free middle finger to play the second fret on string number 2. So you got to lift the ring up, play that note, and then I want you to play string 3 after it. So we have 1 and 2 and 3. So try that with me. 1 and 2 and 3. Now at this point, we're going to pluck that second fret again on string 3, but we're going to slide into the fret up, so the 3rd fret. So quick slide. And you can see it's a little 2 into a big 3. So that's called a grace note. So a grace note adds flourish. And all that means is that it adds a little pizzazz. So instead of going, right, we can get a cooler sound by adding that little flourish note, that slide, that grace note. Okay, so you saw in the little demo right there that after I slid up 2 to 3, I just came back and played that second fret again on string 3. So you're going to come back and hold that note out for 2 beats. So all together you have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5. Try it with me. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5. Again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5. Okay, so it's not too tricky to start us off. Now let's take a look at measure number 2. If we look at measure number 2, here's the cool thing that happens. We're doing the same thing rhythmically, and playing wise, all we're doing is we're taking these notes, we're moving them up the neck so we can play them in a higher pitch. Let me play it one more time. Okay, so this one should be pretty simple because it's very similar to that first bar. So again, we start with that open G. That will buy us time to move our hand up the neck, and we're going to use our middle finger to play 10 on string 2. And then I want you to pivot down with that middle finger, play 10 on string 1, and then use your index to play 9, go back to 10 on string 2, and then play it again and slide to 11, same grace note, and then we can return either with the middle finger to that 10th fret on string 2, or we can use the index finger. Either or works. But all in all, you have open G, 10, pivot down, 10, 9, back to string 2, 10, slide, back to 10. Same rhythm, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So same rhythm as the first measure. We're just playing higher up the neck. So let's try that together. So we have do 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 do. Here we go. Nice. So if we try 1 into 2, sounds like this. Da 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 4, 5. Nice. Going into measure 3, here's where it gets a little bit harder to play. And measure 3 introduces that Japanese pentatonic scale, the in scale. It's only 5 notes, and those 5 notes again are that. And if you can look at the tab, you can notice that we're only playing those 5 notes, so everything stays in this little pentatonic scale. So let's actually learn the scale first. So the scale is going to be 2nd string 3rd fret to the 4th fret, 1st string 3rd fret to the 5th fret, and then 6th fret. So we have 3, 4, 3, 5, 6, and you can walk it backwards. Right, so you can just walk up and back down just to get comfortable with playing that. Now let's put up the lick that we're actually going to play, and here's what it sounds like. So that's a good gist of what it sounds like. Now, if you look at it from a rhythmic perspective, it is crazy. You start off with this da-da-da-da, it's 30-second notes, right? How often do we see something that fast? And then if you look at that grace note slide 5 to 6, that's an 8th note that gets tied into a 16th note, like crazy syncopation, right? So here's what we're gonna do with this measure. We just want to get it in the ballpark. So if you're playing this piece solo, this is a great tune, especially theme 1. Theme 1 especially is a section that you can play with a bit of rubato. So if you need a little bit of help on what rubato is, you can jump into this lesson. Matt breaks it down, explains it to T. But rubato is a way to play with a more natural feel. It means that we don't have to play everything strictly tied to a metronomic beat. So you just want to be in the ballpark for this riff. You just want to play it somewhere in the vicinity of da 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 do do do. Somewhere in the vicinity of that ballpark. You don't have to be perfect, so I just want to go ahead and state that. But if you are playing with the backing track, you do want to be more locked into the metronome. So if you are playing with the backing track, the best way to practice this measure is to actually play along with Evan, or to put the tab player into synthetic mode, which is the MIDI playback, what I like to call the robot playback, because the robot will never mess up. It will always play perfectly. And that's how I practice this lick. So I'm going to put a little clip in right now where you can see me playing along with the MIDI playback, just working on 2 things: getting the timing perfect and building the speed to play this up to speed. So let's take a listen real quick. This opening run, I cannot do piccato picking as fast as I can do alternate picking. So I'm going to hold my middle finger out. Most folks will probably like to use the index finger because that's usually how you hold a pick. But essentially what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick the tip of my finger out and keep my thumb about right there, pretending like I'm holding a pick. And I'm going to use alternate picking going down, up to quickly play this opening passage. Just like that. And that's how I like to get the speed to be able to play this fast. I cannot do piccato picking as fast as I can go alternate picking. Now, you don't have to copy that approach. You can do whatever is comfortable for you. Again, if you're playing this solo, you can go at a slower tempo. Sounds just as cool as... Right, there's no right or wrong if you're playing it as a solo piece. But I just want to go ahead and point out that right hand technique that I'm using. So the notes that we're playing are, again, just straight up out of that scale we learned. So 3, 4 on string 2, then 3, 5 on string 1. Then we're going to do that grace note slide, 5 to 6 on string 1. We're going to hold that for a little bit, then we're going to walk back down 5, 3, then 4 on string 2, and then back to 5 on string 1, and then we're going to do 3, 5 on string 2 and 1. And you can see I put a little accented strum. So what I like to do for that ending is I like to strum down with the nail of my index on string 2, and then pluck the first string with my middle finger. So I do that simultaneously, and I get this kind of accented ba-doo kind of sound. Right, it has a cooler tone than if I was to go just a straight down strum. So again, the ending, you can try that, or you can pluck it, or you can just do a regular down strum. I just like the kind of accented effect that that technique gives me. Really cool. So all together, sounds like that. Now I think we're going to skip the play along for this because it's just so syncopated and odd from a rhythmic standpoint. Again, you just want to get in the ballpark of da 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 do do do. You want to get somewhere in that vicinity. Don't worry too much at the get-go learning it. If you do want to play with the backing track, do what you saw me do with the playback. I was just looping that measure, and I was just playing along with the record. So if we look at bar 4, I'm going to put a box around one note. That one note is the only note that's different in the lick. So we're playing exactly the same lick. We're just changing one little note, the second to last note. So it sounds like this. And that's it. We literally just change that second to last note. You can see that second to last note, we're just going to use our pinky to grab 6 on string 1, and then end with that double stop. So if I play 3 into 4, it sounds like this. Okay, so again, just try to get in that ballpark. Da 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 do 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 do. Do 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 do. Right, so just try to get somewhere in that ballpark for right now. Now, let's continue on. Let's take a look at what happens for measure number 5. And measure number 5, we're going to see a lot of familiarity because it's identical to measure number 1. So we already know how to play it. Let's go ahead and skip to measure number 6. Measure number 6 is going to be the ending of theme number 1. And for this measure, we have something really, really cool. We have a walk down for the bass while the melody walks up. So it sounds like this. Okay, let's go ahead and break that down. So we're going to take our middle finger, play 3 on string 4, ring finger plays 3 on string 2. So we start off with 4, 2, then we can use our index to play 2 on string 4, and then take your pinky, play 4 on 1. Then we're going to drop down to the first fret with the index and stretch with the pinky to 5. So we have 1 on 4, 5 on 1, then open G, buys you time to move up for this harmonic on the 7th fret of the 3rd string. Now, if you're new to harmonics, you want to check out our course on 3 ways to play them. We're going to teach you how to do natural harmonics, which is what we're doing right here in this tune, but it also teaches you how to play artificial harmonics, and it shows you how to do them using a tapping method, which is really cool. So if you need a little help with harmonics, jump into this course right here. I'll also link it in the description box below. But let's go ahead and recap this measure. So again, we have a bass walk down and a melody walk up. So kind of a contrasting feel. Okay, so if we try that together, rhythmically, we just have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5. So if we try it together, we have ba da 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 ba da bum doom. Nice. Now, you can do a little bit of a retardando here, just to kind of slow down. Just to give more significance to the end of theme number 1. But that's everything for theme 1. So we only have 6 bars. Most of them were fairly simple. The ones that were tricky, of course, were the Japanese in scale, that pentatonic scale. But let's do this. Let's go ahead and check out Evan playing along with the backing track. I'll put a 2-bar count in. Remember 5/4, so you have that extra beat for the count in. And I'm going to leave it at 100% speed. If you need to slow it down for the play along, just click the cog in the YouTube playback and slow it down to the speed that works for you. But let's go ahead and jump into that and give it a shot. Alright guys, so that's going to conclude everything for our part 1 lesson. Throughout this lesson we've had a little bit of thunderstorms in the backdrop. It's summer in Georgia and we are literally having thunderstorms almost every day, which is driving me nuts. But again, it's kind of funny for this tune because the rating character in the movie has the power of lightning, so I guess it's a little bit fitting for this tune. Now, in the part 2 lesson, we are going to be learning the second half of this tune, and if you want to check out that lesson, you can do so by clicking this link or going to the site rockclass101.com, doing a search for Little Trouble in Big China, and also on that page were the tabs that you can print off, keep for your records, plus the really cool interactive on-screen tab viewer, so you can literally hit play. You can watch that tab scroll across in real time, highlight bars, loop sections, slow it down, all that fun jazz. And don't forget to, we have the backing tracks available for download. So once you do learn this tune, if you want to play along with that backing track, you will be able to do so. We'll upload 100% speed and 75% speed, so you can rock out with the band at home. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the part 1 lesson. I will catch you in the part 2. Take care, and I'll see you there.